Is using a Boss HM-2 with a 1990s 2-channel triple rectifier a terrible idea? I don't know. We're gonna find out. Let's get into it. The Boss HM-2 is an absolute legendary pedal and is responsible for what we call the Swedish chainsaw tone. And honestly, I asked a question at the beginning of this video, which is if you paired it with a high gain amplifier like this triple rectifier, would it add any value to it? I think the easy answer to that question is yes, but I think today's tone chase will allow us to explore the limits of what that sounds like and the full scope of what that tonal palette could be. So, having said that, let's get right into our rig rundown for the tone chase we will explore today. As you see, I've laid it all out here for you all, so take a look at the specs. You can see what we're working with today. Obviously, again, the triple rectifier, speaker of choice is the Carnivore, and we'll have an SM57. And briefly, I want to talk just about a little bit about the story of this particular pedal. It's kind of fun. So gear acquisition syndrome and tone acquisition syndrome got the best of me, and here I am trying to hunt one of these pedals down for a reasonable price, because if you get a made in Japan version, you're probably going to pay a premium for it. And that's actually unfortunate, because I'm not huge into the hype, but it is fun to see what you can find and what you sometimes can bring back to life. And that's the story of this pedal. I bought it and it was an absolute dumpster fire from Guitar Center. No offense to Guitar Center, I love Guitar Center, but this pedal has, as you can see, it's got its war wounds on there and it has lived a life. And that's exactly what I would want from a pedal, one that has been out in the ether and just in service. And it's so cool to have had the opportunity to really give it a second life and a great home for at least as long as I'll own this pedal, which is gonna be for a long time. But let's talk briefly about some of these versions. Now, the two that I know most are the Chinese made version, or sorry, the made in Japan version and the made in Taiwan version. And this pedal dates back to the early 80s. And then there's some version changes through the late 80s into the 90s. And now we have the current production, which is the Wazacraft variant of this pedal. And so a lot of folks would say that you want to get in the made in Japan. And of course, me being me, I want to find one and see if I can find one reasonably. And that's exactly what happened here. And I'm excited to bring this to you and do some tone testing. Now, here's what we're going to do next. I'd like to go ahead and start doing a little bit of A-Bing. So I'm going to go grab a guitar. We're going to get straight into it. Here we go. All right, the axe of choice for our fun today will be my 2006 Dean Evo. It does have a Gibson Burstbucker 3 here in the bridge position, which is where we'll stay for all of our fun and tone chasing today. The way I'm going to handle this is I'm going to start with the pedal off so you can hear what it sounds like with just the amplifier, and then I will turn it on and I'll do some chugging, noodling, and I'll start twisting knobs, and then I'll come back and give some thoughts. Let's take a listen. All right, I want to take a second to just unpack what we heard there. So we started with just the triple rectifier, and then we engaged the HM-2, and of course, introducing the chainsaw sound. Now, let's hear how gnarly we can make this thing get, and honestly explore the tonal palette. So I'm going to just be doing some tweaks and seeing what sounds we get. Here we go. So there you have it. That was a lot of fun. What a sweet pedal. And honestly, really briefly, I just want to talk through what I was experiencing there. Certainly I did some back and forth between the triple rectifier on its own and then introducing the chainsaw, listening to what the low end would do when you engage that setting. This thing is really cool. Now, you could hear how gnarly it gets. So obviously, too much of an amazing thing might not necessarily be amazing, especially when you're trying to pair it with a high gain amp. That, I think, is an obvious conclusion, but one of the things that I found that's so unique about this is how you can introduce the color of what you're getting from the HM-2. And what I mean by that is you could almost overlay that chainsaw tone. And of course, the rectifier is known for rectifying. It's the rectifier sound. And the chainsaw thing on top of that, it's like having just an insane chainsaw rectifier. All right, words are tough, but you get where I'm going with this. You really can layer this over, and that, I think, is one of the most great value adds that I could pull from this tone chase, is that the HM-2 can sit over top of your high gain amplifier sound. It does add something to it, and you certainly could pull back the level and really work to, I don't know, I guess blend that in is what I'm trying to say here. You can really get a cool blend, and I think that's what makes this pedal unique. If you're a recording artist and you're doing metal, one of the things that I found is if you can put something that is quite gnarly underneath your regular track, so something like a standard track, if you're quad tracking with a triple rectifier and you're trying to, some mic position work or things of that nature, but if you take a pedal like this and make it really gnarly sounding, and sometimes that top end sizzle or the low end, it just does something to glue the thing together. And that's something that is worth having in your arsenal. The same could be said about the Metal Zone. It kind of does that thing. And actually, it'd be fun to shoot these two out to see how close they truly do sound, and amongst many other pedals that I have back here. But the bottom line is, this pedal has lots to offer when it comes to thinking about how you can use it as a tool in the toolbox for, let's say, recording, or even just a unique sound. If you are trying to cut through a mix, I can see where it'd have application there. Now, I will say this clearly. I don't have any of the other versions. Maybe someday we'll have one where we can compare maybe the Wazacraft version or the Taiwan version. But honestly, I don't think it's going to matter all that much which version you have, because when you introduce this much gain, and again with the pedal that much gain, I just don't see how you're going to get all of that much of some sort of tonal difference, especially within the context of a mix. And with that, let's hear it. The way this mix is going to work is you'll hear just a standard triple rectifier, and then you'll hear it with the HM-2 engaged, and then I'll have a blend at the end. Let's take a listen. All right, so another amazing tone chase. Hearing this in the full mix, I mean, it definitely has, it does its thing. We'll just say it with that. I mean, if you're into the Swedish chainsaw sound and you want that, I think you get it with any one of these type of pedals. And I'll be curious if this sounds similar to some of the others I have back here. But again, it's just a tool in the toolbox, and the blend, as always, is pretty unique. In this particular instance, I am deeply curious now what the Wazacraft sounds like, the Wazacraft version of the HM-2 sounds like against this. But overall, again, this is about being curious and exploring. So more videos to come on this, because honestly, I'm keenly interested in understanding what this pedal sounds like versus some of the others I have in the arsenal. And you may have some of these same pedals, so maybe we'll find out a way to capture some of this tone, or is it inherently unique? I don't know the answer to that question, but it'll be up and coming. And with that, we're going to land the plane, and I will see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.